In the past 24 hours, the world has witnessed one of the most dangerous escalations between Israel and Iran in modern history. What makes this moment different is not just the scale of military action but the targets involved. For the first time in this conflict cycle, critical nuclear-linked sites on both sides have come under direct, or near-direct, attack within the same day. This is no longer just a regional war. It is a confrontation that has edged dangerously close to triggering a radiological disaster, one that could impact millions far beyond the battlefield. Let's break down exactly what happened. Early Saturday morning, Iran confirmed that its Natanz nuclear enrichment facility had been struck. This site, located roughly 220 kilometers southeast of Tehran, is not just another installation, it is the backbone of Iran's uranium enrichment program. Specifically, the Shahid Ahmed Roshan enrichment complex houses advanced centrifuges that have been at the center of international concern for years. This marks the second time Natanz has been hit since the start of this latest war phase, which began on February 28 under what has been described as coordinated Israeli and American operations. Iranian state-linked media, particularly Tasnim news agency, quickly labeled the strike as a joint U.S.-Israeli attack. According to multiple reports, bunker-buster munitions were used, suggesting that the target was deep underground infrastructure. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization responded swiftly. But instead of detailing damage, their statement focused on reassurance. There was no radiation leak, and no danger to nearby civilians. That distinction matters. This was not a full damage assessment. It was a containment message carefully crafted to calm both domestic and international fears. When a government emphasizes that radiation has not escaped, it indirectly confirms how serious the strike was. The International Atomic Energy Agency was notified shortly after. Its Director General reiterated a warning that has now become central to this conflict. Military strikes on nuclear infrastructure risk catastrophic consequences. Russia went even further. Its foreign ministry described the attack as a violation of international law and warned of the real possibility of disaster across the region. But perhaps the most interesting response came from Israel. The Israeli military did not deny involvement. Instead, it stated it was not aware of the strike. This is strategic ambiguity. It leaves room for multiple interpretations. It allows Israel to maintain pressure without formally escalating responsibility, and it keeps the United States positioned as either a partner or a shield. But what happened next changed the dynamics completely. Within hours of the Natanz strike, Iran launched retaliatory missile attacks targeting southern Israel. Among the locations hit were Dimona and Arad Darius, near Israel's most sensitive nuclear-related facility. Dimona, located in the Negev desert, is widely believed to be the center of Israel's undeclared nuclear weapons program. Officially, Israel has never confirmed possessing nuclear weapons. But for decades, global intelligence assessments have pointed to Dimona as the core of its nuclear capability. Iran did not hide its intentions. State media openly framed the missile strike as retaliation for Natanz. One missile directly hit a residential building near Dimona. Israeli authorities confirmed the impact. Emergency services reported dozens of injuries, including serious cases involving shrapnel wounds and structural collapse. This was not just a symbolic strike. It demonstrated capability. Dimona is one of the most heavily defended areas in Israel, protected by layered air defense systems, including Arrow and Iron Dome. The fact that a missile penetrated this defense envelope is a major strategic signal. It tells Iran and the world that even the most protected targets are not untouchable. The International Atomic Energy Agency later confirmed there was no damage to the nuclear facility itself and no abnormal radiation levels. But again, the key detail is this. Within a single day, 2 nuclear-linked locations in rival countries had come under attack or immediate threat. This is unprecedented. And yet, the most alarming event may have happened days earlier. On March 17th, a projectile struck an area just 350 meters from Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant. Unlike Natanz, Bushehr is not an enrichment facility, it is a fully operational nuclear reactor connected to Iran's power grid. This plant contains significant amounts of nuclear material, including fuel and spent waste. A direct hit on the reactor core could have triggered a large-scale radiological disaster. What makes this incident even more concerning is that no one has claimed responsibility. No government has provided an explanation, and the trajectory analysis suggests something deeply troubling. The projectile may have originated from inside Iran itself. Satellite imagery indicates a debris pattern consistent with a northern approach, not from sea-based forces typically associated with U.S. or Israeli strikes. This raises the possibility of an internal malfunction, misfire, or accident. If true, it reveals another layer of risk in this conflict, not just deliberate strikes, but unintended ones. Russia, which has personnel stationed at Bushehr, responded with urgency. Its nuclear agency warned that a direct strike on the reactor would have catastrophic consequences affecting multiple countries across the Middle East. This is not an exaggeration. The Persian Gulf is home to critical desalination plants that supply drinking water to millions. in countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. A radiological leak into Gulf waters could contaminate these systems, creating a humanitarian crisis on a regional scale. Russian officials have already evacuated hundreds of personnel from the site. Additional evacuations are ongoing. Construction and expansion projects has been halted. This is a clear indication of how seriously the threat is being taken. Meanwhile, the broader war continues to escalate. Israeli forces have conducted strikes on multiple Iranian military and research facilities, including locations linked to advanced weapons development. Some of these sites had not yet been inspected by international agencies, raising further concerns about undisclosed capabilities. According to U.S. military leadership, thousands of targets have already been hit across Iran. Satellite analysis shows extensive damage to underground facilities and tunnel networks, and yet Iran continues to respond. Missile salvos have targeted multiple Israeli cities, civilian areas have been hit, a kindergarten in central Israel was destroyed by falling debris. Fortunately, it was not in use at the time. Casualties are rising, infrastructure is being damaged, and psychological pressure is building on both populations. Beyond the immediate battlefield, the conflict is expanding in scope. Iran has demonstrated extended missile range capability by targeting a joint U.S.-British base in the Indian Ocean, far beyond its previously declared limits. This signals a shift, not just in tactics, but in strategic reach. European capitals are now theoretically within range. At the same time, Hezbollah has maintained pressure from Lebanon, launching rockets and drones into northern Israel. This multi-front dynamic increases the risk of further escalation. And through all of this, one critical factor remains unchanged. No side has clearly defined what conditions would end this war. There is no roadmap to de-escalation, no visible diplomatic framework, no clear red line that, once crossed, would force restraint. Instead, what we are seeing is a steady erosion of boundaries. Nuclear-linked sites are no longer off-limits. Missile defenses are being tested and strategic ambiguity is being used as a tool of warfare. And perhaps most dangerously, the margin for error is shrinking. Because in a conflict like this, it may not take a deliberate decision to trigger disaster. It may take a single miscalculation. A missile that lands slightly closer. A system that fails at the wrong moment. Or an accident that no one can control. The events of the past few days have shown just how close that scenario already is. The question now is not whether escalation is happening. It is whether anyone can stop it before the consequences become irreversible.